What is going on, guys? It's Corey from CC Gaming here with my first ever full review of a game. And today we're going to start off with a game called Warframe. Many of you have probably heard of it, and many more people are hearing about it because it's just now come to the Switch. Digital Extremes did the development for this game, and Panic Button did the porting for this game. So we're going to go ahead and get into a review for this game, and I'm going to explain to you how I plan to review it. I'm basically going to go with 3 overall criteria for the game, and those criteria are: how well does it run, how fun is it, and what is the value of the game. And I know what you're thinking, this is a free-to-play game. How do I evaluate value? Well, we'll go over that. There is definitely a need to score value in this game as well. So let's just get right into the very first criteria. How well does the game run? Quite frankly, it runs very well. In docked mode, it runs at anywhere between 540p and 720p at 30 frames per second. And it usually runs very well and very smooth from my experience. And in portable mode, it can go as low as around 432p with no hard limit. Probably around 720 can max out on portable mode. Still at 30 frames per second though. Still looking good. Yeah, it struggles a little bit more in handheld, of course. But in dock mode, it runs beautifully. No real issues, no complaints on my end. Compared to the other consoles, of course, it doesn't look as good as Xbox One and PS4. And it's not going to look nearly as good as PC, but who cares? It still looks really good. It controls very well, like you would expect. It's a console version of the game. It's not the first time it's been out. Pro Controller is the way to go, of course. Joy-Cons do work well enough. So I guess it's time that we move on to the second criteria out of our 3, and this one is: how fun is the game? Realistically, the game is so much fun, at least in my opinion. There is so much to do. There are at least about 10 or more level types, mission types that I'm going to go through in a few minutes with you guys, a brief explanation. It could get a little repetitive, I think. I've heard people talk about that, but I don't think it's very repetitive. I think the fact that you have different weapons, different abilities, different warframes all the time whenever you play, it's not really repetitive. But that also, you know, goes with how much you like to do those kind of things. So, I guess your mileage may vary, right? So, I wanted to go ahead and talk about some of the mission types while we're talking about how fun this game is, since there are just so many mission types to play. First of all, we've got missions where you sabotage the enemy, their reactors or something like that. You go on a little mission and you usually have to like destroy the chemical mixer or reactor or something, and then you have to get to extraction. So that's a lot of fun. Then there's capture missions where you have to get to a target quickly and capture him before he escapes and get out of there. That's a pretty neat mission. There are defense missions. Defense missions are some of my favorites. These are going to be like a cryopod or something sitting in the ground, and you are going to have to defend it for so many waves until you are ready to extract. This is just waves of enemies, and it's a ton of fun in my opinion, especially when you get to the higher ones and you're playing with friends. There are also mobile defense missions, which are really neat. They consist of a very similar aspect to them to the defense missions, but you do it in several different locations, so that's a lot of fun. Then there's also a really interesting mission that I only recently just discovered, which is called Defection, and you have to escort survivors. You have to go off and find these survivors, a group of survivors, and they will usually defend themselves a little bit. You have to escort them along a path and then get them to an excavation area. You have to do this multiple times before you finish the mission. You'll see in the footage that it was actually rather tricky. We did a nightmare version, which is something totally different, or a whole other thing altogether to talk about. We're not really going to get into that. And there's this mode called Interception, which is essentially you have 4 different towers and you have to capture all 4 of them for a certain amount of time. And it can get really tricky when it gets to high levels and stuff like that. So that's also a really neat one. I prefer to do that as long as I have friends going, playing with me. And then there are Arcwing missions of all of these different missions as well. So you are doing the same objectives, only you're flying in space or underwater or something, and that's just insane. There are also several other mission types that I didn't talk about. There's just too many to really get into. But that was just I wanted to talk about some of them and give you guys a little bit of a taste. And while we're talking about how fun this game is, there's something else I want to bring up that I don't think I really hit on enough before this, is that it's multiplayer. Up to 4 players can join in together and do all of these missions. Well, most of these missions. There are a few that need to be played single player to progress the campaign and things like that. But mostly, almost every mission can be played up to 4 players, and that includes your friends, as well as random players. If you'll no doubt have noticed at some point that we had random people joining us. It's me, Baja, and then the random person is Killer D. It is not cross-platform, but we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. But it's a ton of fun to play with your friends and with more people in general than just by yourself. So I just wanted to make sure I pointed that out. Like, definitely play this with friends, or at least make sure you can have randoms join you, because that'll make things easier and more fun. The matchmaking has never let me down on this version, or in the past when I played it on PlayStation 4 as well. And that brings us on to our third and final criteria of this review, the value. See, this one is where it could get interesting, because, it's a free-to-play game, so it doesn't cost you any money to download it or to play it, and you don't have to have the Nintendo Switch online service to play this either, with friends or with randoms, so that's, like, really great. But I do want to hit up a couple of topics about this game that can add or maybe subtract from the value to you, in your own opinion, maybe. First of all, obviously it's free. I covered that. You don't need a Nintendo Switch Online. Great. The game has received continuous updates since it's been out, and it's been out for around 5 years on other platforms and PC and everything. It's constantly receiving updates. The PC version is a bit ahead with their DLC and their updates and all of the consoles, and the Switch is a little bit behind the other consoles at the moment. But Digital Extreme said that they want to try and have parity between the consoles by early next year, I think. There's also been plenty of DLC releases over the years, and that's pretty evident with the new Fortuna update that's just released this month on PC, and will be coming to consoles, I think, either this month or next month, and potentially Switch really soon after the other consoles, maybe, or at the same time. Who knows? There is no crossplay. I talked about that just a little bit earlier. There's no crossplay. I don't expect that we will have crossplay, because when you think about it, the PC being ahead with updates, you're not going to be able to crossplay with them, and then, the whole Sony debacle with crossplay. I mean, I know they're getting better, but I don't really see crossplay happening anytime soon with this game. I'd love it. I really want there to be crossplay. But at the moment, we don't have that. Count syncing, on the other hand, is something that was talked about and brought up in an interview I saw with Digital Extreme. And, the idea of being able to pick up my Switch, play some Warframe, and maybe, hop off my couch and back to my PC and play on that same account on the PC would be amazing. I think it's great. It's definitely possible. There are games that you can do that on. Minecraft is a simple example of that. I can go and play it on my Switch on a Realm, and then I can hop back on to my PC or something. I know its Realm's a little bit different, but it's definitely something that can be done. So they did say that it's not like immediately on their docket, but it's also not completely out of the question. It's something they would like to do if it becomes a potential thing that they, have time for and have the resources to do. So that's pretty cool. So I think I've hit all the points that I wanted to talk about basically with this game, guys. There is so much content. There is constant updates. It's multiplayer with friends and with randoms. It's got, you know, 10 plus mission variants, and then all of the Arcwing versions of them. Then there's, you know, it plays very smoothly and rarely lose many frames at all during the game. I think it's time to give this game a final score, and so this is my first review, and I think I want to do it on the CC system, right? So CC Gaming, CC Reviews. So a game is going to get X number of CCs out of 5. I think that what we should give this game, my personal opinion, on the Switch, this is strictly speaking on the Switch, I think it's going to get a 4.5 out of 5 CCs. I think it could have been improved, but I think it's a very, very well done game and well done port. Amazing port job they did. It has some downfalls, like, you know, it doesn't run at 1080p and dock. It struggles a little bit, but it's kind of hard to blame that on them. But that is the main bulk of this review, guys. Well, really, it's all the review. But this is such a short video that I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a little bit more footage to watch. Some footage of me and some friends playing the game. If you want to check out the music that's been playing in the background, check the description below. I'll have links to the music. I'll have links to I've got some streamers that are appearing in this video, so I'll have links to their channels as well. Make sure you check them out as well. And yeah, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed this content, and make sure to come back and check out more videos and streams. I stream like 4 times a week, so you guys are pretty likely to be able to catch me playing something, Warframe or something else. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time to check out this review, and I will see you guys next time. Have a wonderful day.
Surprised to find a path can be revised. There's a need to win, to not just survive, to belong, a different kind of fear, to embrace a future brighter than it's clear. Let go what I knew for waking up next to you. the world, all will be okay. Sharing every sad story on earth. Social media stories of death filling up your wall. The new leaves turn for the worst, and the ones holding hands will be the ones in command. Find me there, past point of no repair. It's cold out there, past the point of no repair. Sit and stare, past point of no repair. Past the point of no repair. Shake your head to stir your thoughts. Please just don't give in. They say the best is yet to come, but I think they got it wrong. I know they got it wrong. Find me there, past the point of no repair. It's cold out there, past the point of no repair. Sit and stare, past the point of no repair. Past the point of no repair.